December 3rd, 2018. Millstone, Pennsylvania. A quiet town that prides itself on peace, family, and Sunday barbecues. But that peace would shatter in a single night when one of their own disappeared. His name was Daniel Reed, age 34, an investigative journalist with a reputation that bordered on obsession. He was fearless, relentless, and, according to some, self-righteous. By nightfall, Daniel would vanish without a trace, and what followed would reveal not just corruption, but the dark cost of playing God with the truth. Before we dive in, tell us, where are you watching from? Because this story proves something chilling. Sometimes, even the quietest towns can bury the loudest lies. Daniel wasn't your typical small-town reporter. He didn't chase gossip or weather reports. He chased power and the people who abused it. In the past 5 years, Daniel had single-handedly exposed 3 major scandals in Millstone: a councilman taking bribes, a school board embezzlement scheme, and a land developer laundering campaign funds. To the public, he was a hero. To the people in power, he was a nightmare. But with each story, something inside Daniel shifted. What began as a pursuit of truth became an addiction to validation. He wasn't just uncovering corruption anymore. He wanted control. Control over the narrative. Control over justice itself. He told his closest friend, Ilana Brooks, another journalist at the Millstone Gazette, "Truth doesn't just need to be told, Ilana. It needs to be performed." Ilana laughed it off then, but weeks later, she'd realized Daniel meant every word. It started with whispers, anonymous tips about town officials funneling money from a federal grant meant for school renovations. Daniel followed the trail: bank transfers, falsified invoices, offshore accounts. It all led to one man, Mayor Richard Holden. A family man, respected, untouchable. Or so everyone thought. Daniel knew exposing the mayor would shake the town to its core. But there was a problem. No one wanted to believe him this time. The town loved their mayor. And Daniel's last few investigations had left people exhausted and divided. Ilana warned him, "Danny, people think you're pushing too far. Maybe step back before you burn yourself out." But Daniel only smiled. No one's ready for the truth until it hits them in the face. That night, he made a choice that would change everything. If the town wouldn't listen to the truth while he was alive, maybe they would once he was dead. On December 3rd, Daniel drove his old Ford sedan to the outskirts of town, a winding stretch near Hollow Creek. There, he staged his own death. He left a note on the passenger seat. "The truth has taken everything from me. Maybe in death, it'll mean something." He splattered blood from a donation kit over the shattered windshield, drove the car into a ditch, and set it ablaze. By morning, police found the wreck. The town mourned. The Millstone Gazette ran a front-page headline: "Investigative journalist Daniel Reed dies in tragic car accident." Ilana cried through her news segment. Colleagues gathered to honor his legacy. The mayor himself gave a speech, calling Daniel a man of conviction. And somewhere, hidden in the woods outside town, Daniel watched the entire thing unfold, smiling. For weeks, Daniel lived off the grid. No ID, no phone plan, just burner phones, encrypted chats, and the satisfaction of watching his plan work. He sent anonymous leaks to Ilana, recordings, documents, photos of bank statements. She thought someone had picked up where Daniel left off, and in a way, someone had. Himself. But something began to change. Every time his name trended online, every time a journalist called him a martyr of truth, Daniel felt a rush, something darker than pride. He didn't just fake his death to reveal corruption anymore. He wanted to control the story of his death. He became addicted to watching the world react to him, as though he were a ghost haunting his own legend. Meanwhile, back in town, one person wasn't buying it. Detective Clara Winters, sharp, methodical, and allergic to coincidences. She'd investigated homicides, frauds, disappearances, and something about Daniel's death didn't sit right. The blood trail looked too deliberate. There was no sign of struggle, no secondary DNA. And when she examined Daniel's files, she noticed something odd. His blood type didn't match the sample from the car. Then came the sightings. A gas station clerk claimed to have seen a man resembling Daniel 2 weeks after the crash. A drone hobbyist caught footage of someone at a remote cabin in the woods. Same build, same hairline. To Moust, it was just rumor. To Clara, it was the beginning of a case that would define her career. "Dead men don't leave digital footprints," she whispered. Because Daniel's online presence hadn't gone silent. Anonymous accounts were still sending encrypted messages, and Clara noticed something chilling. Every leak about the mayor's scandal was coming from servers within 20 miles of Millstone. Daniel's masterpiece was almost ready. He had enough evidence to take back the mayor, half the council, and several local contractors. But he wanted impact. He wanted the town to see his truth unveiled in one cinematic explosion. The more he planned, the more paranoid he became. He started hearing cars outside his cabin, seeing figures in the trees, voices whispering in his head. "They're coming for you, Daniel." But the truth, the only one closing in, was himself. If you were in Daniel's shoes and faking your death meant finally exposing the truth, would you do it? Let us know in the comments. Because what happens next will make you question what's more dangerous, corruption or obsession. By February 2019, 2 months after Daniel's death, Detective Clara Winters had built a case no one wanted to believe. Her theory was simple, too simple according to her superiors. Daniel Reed wasn't dead. He was alive, hiding, and orchestrating something much bigger than anyone imagined. Her partner, Detective Ray Hollis, tried to ground her. "Clara, you're chasing a ghost. The guy burned in his car. DNA confirmed." But Clara shook her head. Then explain the blood mismatch, the anonymous leaks, the eyewitness at Hollow Creek. Ray sighed. "Even if you are right, why fake your own death?" "Because," Clara replied quietly, "some people love truth more than life." While Clara hunted for the truth, Daniel was unraveling. His secluded cabin, once a sanctuary, had become a prison of paranoia. He kept 3 burner phones, changed his route whenever he left for supplies, and slept with a recorder under his pillow. But the longer he stayed away, the harder it became to tell if he was fighting corruption or running from it. Daniel's latest files were explosive, documents proving Mayor Halden had siphoned over $2 million from federal education grants. He planned to drop the files to the press anonymously on the anniversary of his death. He wanted the story to hit like a resurrection. Daniel Reed, the journalist who died for truth, returns as the voice that exposes it all. But obsession isn't patient, and Daniel couldn't resist one more move. At 3:14 p.m. on March 2nd, Ilana received an email. The subject line read, "From the dead." Attached were photographs of the mayor's bank transfers. He's not chasing justice anymore. He's chasing immortality. For Daniel, the final act of his plan was close. He had set up automated leaks that would drop on April 15th, the day he intended to return. He wanted to step back into the world as a resurrected hero. But fate had other plans. Daniel's security cameras detected headlights approaching his cabin. He panicked, grabbed a gun. Through the blur of fear, he saw 2 figures stepping out. a man and a woman with flashlights. Clara Winters and Ray Hollis. Clara shouted, "Daniel Reed, this is Detective Winters with Millstone PD. Step out with your hands visible." Silence. Then a shotgun fired. No one was hit. Daniel fired into the air. Warning, desperation. He fled through the back door into the woods. The detectives pursued, their flashlights cutting through fog and branches. The chase ended near the creek. Muddy, chaotic, breathless. Clara caught him trying to cross the shallow stream. Her voice cut through the night. "You wanted to expose corruption, Daniel? You became it." He turned, soaked, trembling, eyes bloodshot. "You don't understand. They needed a symbol. The truth needed a sacrifice. You faked your death. You lied to everyone who loved you. I gave them something real to believe in," he screamed. "You can't arrest the truth." Clara's eyes softened, but her voice remained steady. "No, but I can arrest the man who forgot what it meant." Daniel dropped the gun. The creek carried away a torn scrap of his jacket, like a ghost dissolving into the water. Daniel Reed was taken into custody that night. Inside his cabin, police found hard drives, false IDs, and hundreds of notes planning every detail of his staged death. But they also found something else, files that did expose real corruption. His evidence was legitimate. The mayor, 2 contractors, and a councilman were all later charged. So, in the strangest twist of all, Daniel was right, but his obsession with being right cost him everything else. Daniel's trial drew national attention. Reporters called him the ghost journalist. Supporters called him a visionary. But the court saw no deception and danger. He was charged with fraud, obstruction of justice, and public endangerment. During the hearing, Daniel finally spoke. "I did it for the truth, but the truth became my lie." His voice broke. Even Clara, hardened by years of cases, looked away. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. Verdict: guilty. Sentence: 6 years in federal prison. In the end, Daniel Reed exposed corruption, but his own reflection destroyed him. He wanted to control the story of his life. Instead, the story controlled him. Detective Winters later told a reporter, "Sometimes the line between hero and villain is thinner than we think. The obsession to be right can become the very trap that destroys you." Daniel served his time quietly. When released, he disappeared for real this time. No leaks, no notes, no messages. Just silence. Do you think Daniel's obsession with justice justified his lies? Was he a criminal? Or a visionary punished for going too far? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And remember, in the pursuit of truth, even good intentions can cast long shadows. This is Shadows of Justice. Subscribe for more stories where obsession meets consequence, and where justice always finds a way. Daniel Reed thought exposure was the highest form of truth. But in prison, truth took on a different shape. Concrete walls don't care about morals. Guards don't debate ethics. In the silence between metal bars, it tells its own kind of story. He wrote every day, but not articles. Just fragments, confessions, about the people he hurt, the faces of his colleagues, his parents, Elena. He wrote their names like prayers. "I wanted to save the world, but I couldn't even save myself," one entry read. 6 months into his sentence, a journalist from the Millstone Gazette requested an interview. Her name, Elena Brooks. Daniel hadn't seen her since before he died. The warden approved one supervised visit. Elena stepped in, older, sharper. Her once gentle eyes now carried skepticism. She picked up the phone, didn't speak first. Daniel did. "You came," she said. "I almost didn't, but I needed to understand why." He took a long breath. "Because no one listens
unless you make them. So you lied to everyone who trusted you, Daniel. You made us grieve for you." He closed his eyes. "I thought grief would wake people up." "You wanted control," she said softly, "not truth. You wanted to decide who deserved to feel what." That silenced him. Elena leaned closer. "You didn't need to die to prove corruption existed. You just needed to stay human long enough to fight it." She hung up the phone, eyes glistening. "I hope you find peace in here, because outside, your name means nothing now." And with that, she left. Daniel never requested another visit. 2 years later, Millstone changed. Mayor Halden's replacement rebuilt the schools. The corruption Daniel exposed had led to real reforms. And yet, Clara couldn't shake one thing. Something about Daniel's digital leaks never sat right. She reopened one of the encrypted folders Daniel had sent before his arrest. Inside, hidden metadata, lines of code buried beneath the documents. A message time-stamped April 15th, 2019, the night before Daniel was caught. It read, "If they find me, tell them the mayor wasn't the only one." Clara's pulse quickened. She decrypted the remaining files, and what she found made her stomach drop. The corruption extended beyond the mayor, to a state senator, 2 police administrators, and a local judge, including the one who presided over Daniel's case, Judge R. Cole Ramirez. She called her captain. "Sir, I've uncovered something you need to see. Reed's data. He was telling the truth about Ramirez. Winters, that case is closed. Reed's a felon. Let it go." But Clara didn't. She went to the DA's office with her findings. Weeks of investigation followed, and by late 2022, an internal probe led to something unthinkable. Judge Ramirez was indicted for bribery and conspiracy, this same judge who sentenced Daniel Reed. For the first time in years, the town spoke Daniel's name again, but this time with respect. His lie was his fall down, but the truth he uncovered had survived him. A guard approached him. "Daniel, you've got mail." Inside the envelope, a short letter. No return address. He opened it. It read, "The judge has been arrested. You were right about them all. ... CW." Daniel folded the note carefully. For the first time in years, he smiled. Not triumphantly, not arrogantly, just quietly. He had spent years trying to make the world hear the truth, but only when he stopped shouting did the world finally listen. Daniel Reed died the night he faked his death. The man who went into those woods was never the same one who came out. But his truth lived on. His lies destroyed him, yet his courage forced a corrupt system into the light. Clara Leader told a reporter, "Justice isn't always clean. Sometimes it crawls through the mud to find its way home." Mayor Halden convicted. Judge Ramirez pleads guilty. Millstone implements anti-corruption reform. Truth isn't the enemy. The real enemy is believing you're the only one who owns it. Daniel Reed's story is more than a mystery. It's a mirror, a reminder that obsession, even in pursuit of justice, can consume the very soul it seeks to redeem. He faked his death to expose the corrupt. In the end, the lie died and justice lived. Would you risk everything, your name, your freedom, your life, to make the world hear the truth? Let us know in the comments. And remember, this is Shadows of Justice, where every truth has a cost and every lie leaves a shadow.